keep your voices quiet, and we'll make this thing work out pretty good. So here we go. So what we have is on this sheet, it kind of walks us through step by step on how to draw a room in perspective. And there's a couple things that I'm going to give you hints about along the way. But if you look at this first box right up here, you can notice real faintly there's an X across the box. Okay, what this X does is it'll show you exactly where the center of the box is. Okay, so above this box, I'm just going to write myself a little note. Okay, and I'm going to write X marks the, not the spot, but the center. X marks the center, or yeah, we're just going to say X marks the center because you can use that for lots of different objects. Okay, so what we're going to do, that's the first thing that we're going to do. Okay, on this square down here, we're going to take either a triangle or a ruler, it doesn't matter, and we're going to line it up with the corners. And you want to draw this really lightly. You want to draw it really lightly. Okay? Once you've drawn that X on there, go ahead and lightly, you don't want to do it super dark, but go ahead and draw in a point right in the middle. That's going to be your vanishing point. Okay? So give me a thumbs up when you're at this stage. Good. Okay, and don't move on past this yet. Okay? All right. So this next stage, if you look up here, we're starting to put the walls in. Okay? So here's another little tip to kind of help you out. With where our walls are at, it'll change how our room looks. Okay, so right here I'm just going to put another little mark. This is just kind of a little note to myself. I'm going to write back wall. Okay, and really anything for that matter, but specifically with this back wall, anything that is closer to the VP looks further away. So if it's the back wall, if it's closer to the VP, the room is long. Okay, so back wall closer to VP is a long room. If it's further away from the vanishing point, it's going to be a really shallow room. So if you look at this right here, this back wall is really close to my vanishing point. It looks like I'd have to walk a long ways to get down here. Okay, this one's a little bit shallower. If I were to do another one right here, and I'm just going to sketch this in real quick. If I was to do one right here, like this, it would look like, you know, like it was a really shallow room, almost like I was inside a closet or something that didn't have much space. Okay, so that's the difference between how long your room is, depending on how close you are to your vanishing point. There it was. Okay, all right. So on here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take either my ruler or my triangle, and I'm going to draw vertical line to start with, and I want to go between these two vanishing point line, so I'm going to line it up with the bottom of the square here. Okay, I'm going to draw that in. All right, going to do the same thing over here, lining it up. Okay, and what this is doing is this triangle is letting me have perfect horizontal and perfect vertical lines. And as you can see, I'm just going from wall to wall. Okay, so I started here, I'm going here. I'm not like skipping around or going across. And I just line up my triangle with where my wall needs to go. Okay. And there we go. Give me a thumbs up once you're at this point. Good? Okay. Once we're right here, what we can do is we can take our eraser and erase this X inside the box, because that box is our back wall. We don't really need an X on our back wall. Okay. And if we're to look right up here, our next step is starting to draw the door in, but we're going to do something before we do that. Okay? We're going to do something that's not on this paper, but it is going to help you out. Now that we have our vanishing point and our walls drawn in, what do you think would be a good idea to put in our room to help us kind of keep track of where objects should be? Before that, think about this. I'm giving you a big hint. Our eye level, our horizon line. That's going to tell us how tall or short objects should be. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my triangle with the side of my box. I'm going to draw my horizon line. And I'm going to draw this really lightly, because if I draw it really dark, I'm not going to be able to erase it later on, and I'm going to want to be able to erase it later on. Okay? So now we're going to draw a door in. Okay, that's step number 3. Okay? So watch me before you draw this in. Okay, watch what I do first. I'm going to put it in the same spot. I'm going to put it over here on this left-hand wall. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my triangle once again. I'm going to put the line that is closest to us, the viewer. Okay? And I'm going to start at the bottom. And what it needs to do is it needs to cross this horizon line, because if we're looking at a door, we're not looking from above the door or from below the door. Our eye level is kind of chopping right through the middle of it. Okay? So what I do is I have this first line drawn in here, and then I can draw in a vanishing point line. I'm going to do this really lightly. Okay? Like that. And then I'm going to put in the back line of the door back here on the wall. Okay? Once I have that, then I can erase the rest of this vanishing point line. And I can erase the horizon line that goes through the middle of my door if I want to. Okay? So give me a thumbs up once you got your door drawn in. Okay? Here's another little helpful hint. Okay, and we're going to write it right above this one up here. Okay? Objects that you draw on the walls, objects on walls, ceiling, and floor, use VP lines. So the tops and the bottoms, or the sides, depending on where it's at, are going to use VP lines. If it's on the back wall, though, it's going to be flat. So a way to know is look at the wall, okay? Look at where you're at. If you're drawing something on this side wall, Okay? What types of lines have I used here so far to draw just this sidewall? Okay, what type of line is this? Vertical, so you'll have vertical lines. You may have some horizontal lines, but you'll also have these vanishing point lines. Okay, this back wall, if it's flat against the wall, you're not going to have any of that. It's just going to be a flat looking object. So if you were to put a TV on this back wall, it would just look like a flat object back there. Okay? Alright, so we got our door drawn in, and we're about out of time, so we're going to stop right there. Okay?